Welcome to Cinnamon. The story begins with Yang, a brilliant lawyer at the Lee & Yu law firm. He's so smart that he's never lost a case. As a top lawyer in the firm, his big dream is to become a partner one day. But there's a problem. He only gets small, simple cases. He's eager for a challenging case to prove his skills, but so far, he hasn't had the chance. Meanwhile, Jiwoo is a 15-year-old girl with autism, a condition that makes it hard for her to communicate or connect with others like most people do. She might repeat words over and over, and her social behavior can seem unusual. But Jiwoo has a special gift. Her hearing is incredibly sharp. She can pick up even the tiniest sounds that others miss. Sadly, her classmates at school tease her because of her differences. Jiwoo lives with her elderly father, who has Parkinson's disease, a condition that makes his hands shake and his movements slow. He's her only family, and he's always encouraging Yang, his neighbor, to settle down and get married. Yang, who's 40, brushes it off with a smile. He can't think about marriage yet because he's stuck paying off a big loan his father took out years ago. Yang's only friend is Suin, who runs an NGO that fights for justice and supports women facing unfair treatment. Right now, Suin's NGO is battling a powerful company in a legal case. And guess what? Yang's law firm is handling the case for the company. This puts Yang in a tough spot, torn between his job and his friend's cause. One night, Jiwoo is in her room watching cartoons on her tablet. Suddenly, her sharp ears catch the sound of an argument coming from the house across the street. Curious, she peeks out her window and sees a man and a woman arguing loudly. The noise overwhelms her sensitive hearing, and it upsets her so much that she starts to panic. Her parents rush in to comfort her and help her calm down. The next morning, the police show up. They reveal that the man from the house has passed away under mysterious circumstances. Suspicion falls on the maid who works there, and she's arrested for what they think might be a crime. The case quickly becomes a big deal. At the law firm, Mr. Lee, the owner, adores Yang like a son. He sees this case as Yang's big break and hands it over to him, trusting him to shine. Mr. Lee wants Yang to prove the maid's innocence and show the world what he's capable of. The case hinges on one question. Was it murder or something else? As Yang digs into the details, he discovers there's an eyewitness, Jiwoo. The maid was arrested based on what Jiwoo said she saw. But because Jiwoo has autism, her statement stirs up a media storm. Everyone's watching, and the case becomes a huge deal for Yang's firm. It's now a matter of pride for them, and for Yang. With all eyes on him, Yang knows he has to step up. This is the challenging case he's been waiting for, and he's determined to handle it with confidence and skill. Mr. Lee, the firm's owner, wants Yang to look his best for this big case. He gifts Yang an expensive suit, shiny shoes, and even a sleek Mercedes car. Yang feels like his dreams are finally coming true. He's getting the chance he's always wanted. The next day, Yang heads to the jail to meet the maid, Mirasi. She shares her side of the story about that night. Mirasi explains that she heard strange noises and went to check on Kim, her employer, in his bedroom. When she got there, she saw Kim with a plastic bag over his face, struggling. She tried to help by tearing the bag off, but it wouldn't rip. Panicked, she ran to the kitchen for scissors. By the time she got back, it was too late. Kim was gone. Mirasi insists she had no reason to harm him. "Why would I hurt him?" she asks. "His passing left me without a job or a home." Yang listens carefully and starts to believe her. Next, Yang reviews Jiwoo's statement, which she gave to a government lawyer. Jiwoo, the autistic girl, described what she saw that night. But Yang realizes her disability might make it hard for a judge to trust her words in court. If the judge doubts Jiwoo, Yang's case could be a sure win. Yang drives to Kim's house in the small city to investigate. There, he meets Kim's son, Jim, who says, this wasn't a crime, it was a choice Kim made himself. Mirasi had nothing to do with it. Jim reveals he's the one who hired Yang's firm to defend Mirasi and clear her name. While exploring Kim's room, Yang notices the window facing Jiwoo's house. That's where Jiwoo must have witnessed everything. Yang decides to visit Jiwoo, but her mother stops him at the door. Jiwoo hasn't slept well since that night, she says. I don't want her upset anymore. Determined, Yang consults an autism expert and shows her a video of Jiwoo's statement. The expert explains, Jiwoo's very smart, but people with autism often live in their own world. That can make it tough for them to explain things clearly. The government lawyer who took Jiwoo's statement knows a lot about autism, which is why Jiwoo felt comfortable with him. Yang sees an opportunity. He wants Jiwoo to testify in court, since her words could decide the case. Meanwhile, Yang meets his friend Suin and gives her some tough advice. "You can't beat that big company," he says. "Settling with them is the smarter move." Suin's heart sinks. She'd hoped her friend would stand by her cause, but Yang seems more loyal to his firm. She walks away disappointed. Before the trial, the judge calls both lawyers in. Yang argues, "My client's being blamed based on Jiwoo's statement. I have the right to question her in court. Otherwise, this case isn't fair." The judge listens, knowing the next steps will be crucial. The judge agrees with Yang and orders the government lawyer to bring Jiwoo to court. Yang knows Jiwoo's brother, who's also autistic, understands her better than anyone. So, Yang asks him for advice on how to connect with Jiwoo. Her brother hesitates but shares a tip before leaving. "You can't pull an autistic person into your world. They're wired differently. Instead, step into their world and try to see things their way." Inspired, Yang visits Jiwoo at her school. He starts a conversation and Jiwoo suddenly says, "Your tie has 267 dots." Yang's impressed. She's clearly a math whiz. Jiwoo's friend Sin notices Yang's interest and offers some advice. "If you want to talk to Jiwoo, become her friend first. Do what she enjoys, and she'll open up." Yang asks, "What does she like?" Sin smiles. "Puzzles." 2 days. Later, the trial begins. In court, Yang tells the judge that Kim had been struggling with depression for a long time. He points out that Kim's autopsy showed traces of sleeping pills, hinting at his state of mind. Then the forensic doctor takes the stand. The government lawyer, Louis, questions him about the autopsy. The doctor explains, if Mirasi really wanted to save Kim, she could have torn the plastic bag off his face easily. But the bag had no tear marks. For a healthy woman like Mirasi, stopping an 80-year-old man from ending his life wouldn't be hard, unless she didn't try to help him at all. Now it's Yang's turn to question the doctor. He displays an article on the courtroom screen. It says, "When someone weak tries to save a strong person drowning in a pool, they often fail. Why? Because in their final moments, a person choosing to leave gains an unexpected burst of strength." Yang looks at the doctor. "You wrote this, didn't you?" The doctor nods, unable to disagree. Yang turns to the judge. "That's what happened here. In his last moments, Kim found that same strength. Mirasi couldn't overpower him, no matter how hard she tried. That's why she couldn't stop him." He adds, "The autopsy also found traces of special gas in the plastic bag, a substance people sometimes use to make the process faster. It's easy to find info about this online." To seal his argument, Yang plays a video clip in court. It shows Kim buying that exact gas at a supermarket. The judge watches closely and accepts the clip as evidence, nodding thoughtfully. The next day, Yang visits Jiwoo's school. Knowing she loves puzzles, he tries one out. How can all the windows of a house face south? Jiwoo doesn't answer right away, so Yang invites her and her friend Sin to a noodle restaurant. Over lunch, he notices Jiwoo's eyes light up when she spots blue candy. She clearly loves it. Meanwhile, Yang's friend Suin has settled her fight with the big company and lost. She feels down, especially since no one, not even Yang, stood by her. Yang tries to cheer her up. 15 lawyers were against you and you still held your head high. That's amazing." Suin appreciates the words, but deep down, she feels Yang let her down. She senses he's more focused on his career than their friendship. That night, Yang's boss, Mr. Lee, calls him. "To succeed as a lawyer, you need heart and grit," Lee says. "Win this case, and Kim's son, Jeem, a wealthy business tycoon, wants you to head his legal department. It's a huge opportunity." Lee hints that if Yang pulls this off, he'll make him a partner at the firm. Yang's so thrilled he feels like he's soaring. Later, at home, Yang gets a text from Jiwoo. She's solved his puzzle. If the house is at the North Pole, all its windows face south. Yang smiles. Jiwoo's brilliant. He realizes that, to connect with her, he should keep giving her puzzles. Her answers could spark conversations and build trust. Yang grabs a puzzle book and starts sharing new ones with Jiwoo daily. She solves them with ease, proving that people with autism aren't disabled. They can be sharper than anyone. Yang begins visiting her school regularly, and Jiwoo starts looking forward to seeing him. On the career front, Yang's hard work pays off. He joins Jim's legal department after the case. One day, while heading to Jiwoo's school, Yang spots trouble. Sin is bullying Jiwoo, pushing her around. Yang steps in fast, stopping Sin and pulling Jiwoo to safety. The ordeal triggers a panic attack for Jiwoo, and Yang rushes her to the hospital. Jiwoo's mother arrives, shaken by the incident. Yang gently suggests, Jiwoo might thrive in a school for kids with special needs. It could be a better fit for her. Her mom nods, still processing everything. Jiwoo's mother shares a heartfelt story with Yang. Jiwoo's smarter than most, she says. When other kids couldn't even say a word, Jiwoo was speaking full sentences. I thought she was a genius, but later learned it was tied to her autism. Still, she insists, Jiwoo's not less than anyone. She's more than ordinary, in her own way. That night, Yang drops Jiwoo and her mother off at home. Before he leaves, Jiwoo's mom invites him inside. In Jiwoo's room, Yang spots legal books and asks, Do you want to be a lawyer? Jiwoo nods. Lawyers are good people. They help others, she says with a pure, innocent smile. Her words make Yang pause. He knows the legal world isn't always so noble. Sometimes it's messy and tough. Jiwoo tilts her head and asks, Are you a good person? You're a lawyer, right? Yang doesn't know what to say, caught off guard by her honesty. Jiwoo continues, My friend Sin used to make me smile, but she also used me. You smile a lot too. Will you use me like she did? Yang's speechless, her question echoing in his mind. The next day, Jiwoo's brought to court. Her mother guides her in, but the loud chatter and bustling crowd overwhelm Jiwoo, leaving her rattled. The hearing begins, and Jiwoo takes the stand. She tells the court, That night, I saw Mirasi hurting Kim. She was smiling, like she was happy about it. Someone who just survived something terrible wouldn't smile like that. Mr. Lee steps up, holding a book by an autism expert. He explains to the judge, People with autism often struggle to read human facial expressions the way others do. That night, Mirasi's face, whether it showed a smile or stress, Jiwoo couldn't tell the difference. Yang takes over, showing a sketch on the courtroom screen. Jiwoo, what's the girl's expression here? He asks. Jiwoo says she's smiling. Yang switches to another sketch. And this one? Jiwoo replies, She's sad. Then he shows a third sketch, a girl with sad eyes but a faint smile. What about now? He asks. Jiwoo hesitates, then says, She's smiling. The courtroom murmurs. It's the wrong answer. Yang turns to the judge. This proves it. Jiwoo can't accurately read human expressions. That night, Mirasi was trying to save Kim, not harm him. Jiwoo saw a smile, but she couldn't understand Mirasi's true intent, to help, not hurt. The court sees Jiwoo's autism as a challenge and decides to announce its verdict in 2 weeks. That evening, Jiwoo calls Yang, her voice shaky. Am I broken in my head? She asks. You said so in court to win. Yang freezes, unable to respond. He knows his words hurt her deeply. He rushes to Jiwoo's house, but her mother, upset by Yang's actions, stops him at the door. You called my daughter unreliable in front of everyone, she says, her voice heavy with disappointment. Her words hit Yang hard. To win, he'd painted Jiwoo, an innocent girl who trusted him, as someone the court couldn't believe. 2 weeks later, the court throws out Jiwoo's statement and frees Mirasi. Yang wins the case. But as he steps outside, he catches Jiwoo's faint smile mixed with sadness, and then notices Mirasi's grin. Something feels off. Mirasi's smile doesn't look relieved. It looks sly. After the trial, Mirasi avoids Yang, brushing him off as she hurries to see her son. Yang digs deeper and uncovers a shocking truth. Mirasi has an illegitimate son and a serious illness. After Kim's death, she got money from an NGO. Money that actually came from Kim's son, Jim. Yang's stomach drops. Did he just free someone who wasn't innocent? Did he twist Jiwoo's truth for a lie? Meanwhile, Suin sees Yang's choices and realizes they're on different paths. She's chasing justice, he's tangled in deception. At the same time, Louis, the government lawyer, appeals the court's decision, unwilling to let it stand. Then things take a dark turn. Mirasi tracks Jiwoo down at school and corners her. "If you speak against me, you'll regret it," she hisses, her words dripping with menace. Terrified, Jiwoo collapses in shock and ends up in the hospital. Yang visits, tears welling up as he sees her frail and shaken. He's done with lies. He vows to fight for the truth now. But to fix this, Jiwoo needs to testify again. Yang pleads with Louis to convince Jiwoo's mother, who's furious. "I won't let my daughter be humiliated in court again," she snaps. Yet Jiwoo, overhearing, speaks up. "I want to go. I want to show I'm not weak." Her determination shines through. The new hearing begins. Jiwoo walks into court with her head high. Louis argues, "People with autism can't be trusted as witnesses. Jiwoo's not fit." The courtroom listens closely. Then Yang stands. He turns to a guard across the room and says, "Whisper something about yourself." The guard murmurs, faintly, and everyone strains to hear, except Jiwoo, who catches every word. The guard whispers something so faint only he should hear it. But Jiwoo, sitting in the witness box, repeats his exact words perfectly. Yang turns to the judge. Jiwoo has an incredible gift. She can hear the tiniest sounds from far away, sounds no one else catches. It's her special strength, he explains. That night, Jiwoo heard everything from her window, even though it was across the street. Those words stuck in her mind. Jiwoo takes a deep breath and shares what she heard with the court. She recounts a conversation between Mirasi and Kim, revealing a shocking truth. Kim planned to donate all his property. Mirasi, desperate to stop him, ended his life with help from his son, Jim, who paid her off. The courtroom gasps. Yang, now standing against his own client, leaves Louis speechless. Louis erupts, shouting in disbelief, but the judge orders him out for disrupting the court. Jim is arrested for his role in his father's death. Yang faces the judge. Autistic people don't lie. Jiwoo's the perfect witness. She can't be bribed or swayed. Even after what happened last time, she came back today, brave and honest, to tell the truth. That's something to admire. She never stopped being truthful. We were the ones who couldn't see it. Mirasi breaks down and confesses. She admits her crime and drops another bombshell. Her illegitimate son is Kim's child. Both Mirasi and Jim are taken away to face justice. Yang looks at Jiwoo. "You were the best witness this court's ever seen," he says. Tears glisten in Jiwoo's eyes, a mix of relief and pride. A few days later, it's Jiwoo's birthday. Yang arrives with a gift. Jiwoo beams and shares, "I've started at a school for kids like me. I don't have to pretend to be normal anymore. Everyone there understands me." Yang nods, amazed by her wisdom and spirit. He hands her a puzzle book and her favorite blue candy. Jiwoo's eyes light up. She pauses, then says, "You're a good person, Yang." To him, those words feel like a medal of honor. Tears well up as he replies, "I'm trying to be." Jiwoo steps forward and hugs him, and Yang's face glows with joy. Later, Yang visits Suin. "I've quit the law firm," he tells her. "I want to join your NGO and work for what's right." Suin smiles. Maybe their paths can align again after all. Yang looks at Suin with determination. "I want to fight for the truth now," he says. "But I can't do it alone. I need your support." Suin nods, and they clasp hands, ready to take on the world together. The screen fades to black. The story ends here. Thanks for watching on Cinemend. If you enjoyed this drama, drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't yet. See you soon with another exciting movie.